Welcome back to the channel. It is Zon the One, and in today's video we are going to be talking about how narcissism ruins IPs. And today we have with me a special guest, a very good friend of mine and once mentor, Anton.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wow, that's a big one. I don't know how to reply to that exactly, but sure, let's begin. And how are you today, Darian?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
It's not, how do you call you? How do I call you? Zon the One? How do you pronounce that? Excellent.
You could just say Zon, you could say Darian.
Zon.
It's fine, man. I'm okay with anything that you throw at me. What I want to do is I want to jump straight into the meat of this conversation. Now we look at recent events, we see all of the stuff that's happening with movies and video games. We see the Rachel Zeglers that exist to just ruin whatever they touch. People like Leslie Headlamp and Amanda Stenberg, who straight up blames the audience for not eating whatever slop they decide to put on a dish for us with some nice garnish to make it look presentable. What do you think about that?
The first thing I have is a question.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, I want to know which god died and made them made these people the new deities of entertainment.
I don't know, man, but something has to be happening in the background for them to have this type of power.
Well, maybe it's the Twitter fan base. Maybe it's their Twitter, maybe not Twitter, maybe it's all the other social media fan base, right? Yeah. That, that
most
blew
times,
their egos out of proportion.
Most times it has to be Twitter, because Twitter is one of the most radical platforms. You'll find a lot of these people spreading this type of overly arrogant hate. If you don't accept us, we will cancel you and we'll come after you and try to make you lose your job and all of that. To me, I think it's just completely pathetic. And as I said in the beginning of the video, it's just pure narcissism. These people are 100%, in my opinion, untalented. They don't deserve the positions that they have. They've gotten to there due to DEI and all of these other bullshit loopholes that have been introduced over the past 10 years. And it just sucks. It sucks that you can see these IPs, these pre-established IPs with already existing fan bases crumbling to the ground.
Right. Now, before we go further, I remember Amanda Stenberg. I've seen her in 2 movies prior to The Acolyte.
Right.
And in those 2 movies, I thought she was pretty good. There was no agenda. There was no problem. There was no sexist or any sort of the alphabet soup agendas
being pushed in those
movies. Right. One was some sort of sci-fi where she seemed to have some sort of immune system deficiency.
Right.
And there was a pseudo love story somewhere in there.
But would you say it was entertaining?
Yes, it was. And I think she's a good actress. Right. I'm not sure about what she did in Star Wars, but she was a good actress in that movie.
From what I've been told in The Acolyte, because I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but from what I've been told is her acting was very stiff, and some people say it's her fault, some people say it was the direction and the writing. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. For a young lady like herself to go from someone who, as you said, seemed to be a good actress to this kind of radical, overly self-absorbed type of individual is just a sad sight to me.
Right. Yes. Now, having seen The Acolyte myself, I have no personal qualms with how she acted in The Acolyte based on the personal angst of the characters that she played. So her character, you know, she played two characters, right?
Right.
A set of twins.
Yes.
Right. And each had a lot of issues.
Right.
They were both psychologically broken, and as such, I would expect them to be a certain type of way. And so I think that her portrayal of those characters weren't exactly bad. Yes, they were sort of wooden because, you know, they were broken people.
Wooden is a good way to describe
Right.
that, yeah.
Yes, so she played two broken people, right, who had serious issues. And so, you know, her acting would, I think that she played herself.
You think she did a passable job?
Yes.
Depicting those characters.
Yes.
But no,
I think, you know, she didn't play a Jedi master who's very affable and lots of jokes and very wise and all that. No, she played two teenage girls who were broken, who saw their parents die, who saw the eradication of the entire clan, and each thinking that the other one's dead. And they were twins.
But here's the thing that I have to ask here. Do you think, as a Star Wars fan, do you think the failure of The Acolyte was 100% on the writing staff? Because in my opinion, I think a show is only as good as its writing. You know, the actor can be pretty bad, but if the writing is excellent, the show is just going to be very good still, right? So what do you think about that?
I think this show's, I don't think any particular show's failure is all about the writing. Right? I think that, all right, let's just get to this show, right? Because it's a topic that's way too broad. Now, this particular show, The Acolyte itself, right? We're going to talk about other shows after, right? The failure was not all about the writing, but maybe 90%. The other 10% was really about how Amandla Stenberg portrayed herself outside of the show. How she portrayed what she exhibited at media conferences, at the press conferences, right? What she would say to the public, right? What the director would say to the public, what the executive producer would say to the public, right? What they said, they were deliberate, and it was very, very much like it was very, very much like what happened with Captain Marvel.
Arrogance.
The Marvels. Right? Which was that we are going to do this sexist thing. We're going to do this anti-male and also anti-white male.
Right.
I'm not white. I'm male, but I'm not white.
Yeah.
Right? And I have no problem with a lot of the movies and series that have come out. You know, I'm not pushing for black males in particular. It's not really that, right? I'm cool with whatever people put out,
as long as it's good quality.
As long as that's right. As long as we have good acting, good writing. It doesn't matter if the person's black, white, Chinese, Hispanic.
Literally, exactly. I 100% agree with that. A point I want to make here is when you see these people go to interviews and they sit in such a smug, condescending tone, like they're above everybody else. They're telling you what they're going to do and you're going to love it. And it's like, that's 100% when you are out of touch. That's the entire vibe. That's the entire vibe that these people give off. And something I think they're failing to understand is that, especially, let's use Rachel Zegler, the chick who was starring in the Snow White thing. Now, I'm not a fan of Snow White or anything, but this has went so viral that everyone was talking about it. And I know enough about her to tell that she is just like Leslie Headlamp and Amanda Stenberg, you know, and in the sense that they are very arrogant people. You know, so this is why I said, like, I think we need to talk about how narcissism really ruins these shows for the audiences.
Right. Now, when a person thinks so much of themselves, they assume that whatever they like, whatever they prefer,
right,
must take precedence over anything else.
Yes.
And so, if I am one of these people, I would say, okay, I am the most important person here. I want the story to go this way because I think that I'm smarter than everyone else. Right? And that's a great deal of narcissism. So I am smarter than the writers. Now, imagine the writers, the producers, the director, and the main actor being of the same mindset and having no real understanding of the lore.
Or the community.
Right.
I have to put that in there as well.
Yeah. Definitely. The lore or the mindset of the community.
Exactly.
Right. And let's say we are trying to force our agenda, which is what we want to see, what we want this thing to look like.
Right.
Right. And you want to force it down the throats
of audience
of
members.
the fan base.
Yeah.
Right. The fan base does not care and will not care.
Exactly.
And so, if you don't give the fans what they know to be the heart of the IP, or something that represents the heart of the IP, then what's gonna happen? The fan base is gonna walk away.
Exactly.
And so this is what we've seen with the Acolyte.
I mean, that is not just that. We've seen it with a bunch of shows as well. We've seen it with She-Hulk. Even movies like Madam Web, you know, all of these movies and video games that are failing and these people are losing hundreds of millions of dollars is not our fault as audience members. And I hope anyone listening to that understands, no matter how much they try to blame you, it is not your fault. Because if you even look at the queer fan base, you look at the alphabet army, the rainbow people, when you look at them, even those people don't watch it. They don't show up, they don't contribute, they don't support the slop that these people are producing because they also know it's bad. That's the thing.
Right. Now, I'll just segue this into the discussion. Now, you remember the old Star Trek TV series, the original Star Trek TV series with William Shatner?
No, I didn't watch it, no.
Okay, you didn't see it. Okay. Now, the helmsman, right, the guy who actually flew the ship or navigated the ship, that was Mr. Sulu. It was an Asian guy.
Right,
Mr. Sulu. In real life, outside of the show, this guy is gay, right? But in the show, there is no mention of his sexuality whatsoever. Right? He's just the guy who flies the ship and is pretty damn good at it. Right? He never had much of a character development. Now, in the newer Star Trek movie series,
I could see it.
They put Sulu.
I'm literally looking at a picture of him. Yeah,
Right. So they put Sulu as gay, the new Sulu.
Right.
He's gay in the show. The old Sulu is like, what? Why would they do that?
Right.
It's not necessary. The original Sulu says that it's not necessary.
Okay, so I'm
it
seeing
does nothing for the story.
I'm seeing the actor from Harold and Kumar.
Right.
So this
even he said that it wasn't necessary. It did nothing for the story.
Right. It doesn't add to the story in a meaningful way. It's just more.
So why have it? Why
forced representation?
Right. Forced.
Right.
So with the Star Wars, it's like that. Now, with the Star Trek, with the Star Trek, it was like that. No, we coming back to Star Wars, right? There are some things that are not necessary. right? I think that the fan base doesn't really mind if there is a gay character or gay characters,
Right.
right? But the story should not be about gayness,
Yes.
or right, or the story should not be about toxic masculinity, right? Or about feminine empowerment. The story in Star Wars, it's all about the Force and the people who live in that universe or that galaxy a long time ago, in that galaxy far, far away, how they lived with all these other aliens, because they're all aliens to each other, and whatever social angst is taking place, whatever battles they have to fight, it's all about how they live. The original stories were more centered on the force wielding characters,
Right.
Which would include the Jedi and the Sith, right? And the political structure, which was really sexist. I must say, the political structure of the Empire was sexist, definitely.
What
Right?
what
And
fantasy what fantasy world doesn't have a sexist political system? Like,
right,
this isn't modern, like our modern society. We're talking about the whole point of the story,
right. It's a
is to
fantasy
take
world.
us to a different world.
Exactly. So it's not to be, right? I didn't expect, and we should not. I don't think that we should. This is my opinion. I'm airing this, that I don't expect that every fantasy world should be a representation of
You mean
downtown Manhattan,
okay?
of the racial demographic of downtown Manhattan shopping district. You know, like come on. Yeah, right. Or the demographics of I don't know, of Kingston, Jamaica, you know, or the capital city of Suriname. You know, I don't want to see that, right? It is what it is. If a planet is more humans living on that planet, fine, more humans. There's nothing, there's no reason to say, well, okay, we're gonna have more white people or more black people or more Asian looking people, right? It just is what it is. You know, this planet gonna have, you know, it just needs to make some kind of sense, right? So one planet may have more dark people, one planet may have more white people.
And that's fine.
And that's fine.
Yes, very
One
much.
planet's gonna have more I think they call them Twi'leks, right? Right? That's like Ahsoka, more of her people on this planet. Well, fine, it's cool. They come in different colors, so one planet's gonna have more of the red ones. Right. Another planet may have more of the green ones. Another planet will have more of the ones that don't have stripes on their heads, right? So, you know,
the thing
that's not an issue.
The thing is, for me,
none of that is an issue, right? Hold on, let me get to the crux of it. Now, if that's the case, right, why can't we just let good sense prevail? Why do we have to, or why do these people have to try to break something that is already good? Well, I'll tell you what, they don't think it's good.
Exactly.
They don't think it's good. They wanna tell their own story. Right?
Exactly.
And they do not want, well, they know that if they tell their own story about this character who does this and that, they know that there's no fan base for such a story. They know it's not gonna sell.
Right.
They know it's never going to work out. They know nobody's gonna watch it. Right? So what they do is they place it within the Star Wars mythos. Right, to piggyback on the success of Star Wars.
Yes.
And that's why we had these 3 Rey movies.
Yes.
Right, with the silly girl.
Yes.
Right, the silly magical Rey girl.
The Mary Sue.
Right.
The Mary Sue of all Mary Sues.
Yeah. Right. So that's what
this is what I want to say, I want to say this. That is exactly my point. These people are more or less untalented. They don't have what it takes to create something on their own, so they have to latch on in a very parasitic way to something that has already been established, something that already has a fan base. And then when those fans now tell you that, hey guys, y'all are actually ruining this thing that was built up, that had so much love put into it, they say, no, fuck you, you're a bad person. That's what they say. They say you're a bad person for having standards. The Kathleen Kennedys, the Amanda Stenbergs, the Leslie Headlamps, and the Rachel Zeglers, like, they all look at the fans and they say, oh no, fuck you guys. You guys are terrible people, and it's just not true.
Yeah, you know, fuck all you fans. What do you know anyway?
Exactly. You know, you're just a fan. You're a nobody. You know? You
need to be educated.
Exactly.
And we're gonna educate you as to what you should like.
And the truth is,
and I'm telling you, you're supposed to like this. And if you don't, I'm gonna force it down your throat anyway.
The truth is, these people are literally nothing without the fans. And that's something I'm happy that they're starting to learn. You're starting to see these big companies are getting tired of losing hundreds of millions of dollars. So they're literally making changes. And now they're going to try to hide these guys in the background. But once these guys keep messing up, it's eventually going to, the big wigs on top are just going to say, listen, there's no more space for this LGBTQ forced woke nonsense. The overly gay, I would say pronoun injected bullshit. Like they just don't have time to focus on that anymore. Let's get back to great stories, great movies, and all of that. Now I want to say thank you for hopping on the channel, man. It means a lot. I wanted to do a video with you for a while now, and this was fucking great. You have any final thoughts?
Yes, we've seen all of this happen. This like Battlestar Galactica. I'm not in the sense that Battlestar Galactica has a lot of this agenda. No, it doesn't. But as in Battlestar Galactica, we see things being recycled. We see something has happened before and it's going to happen again. It's happening right now. It's going to happen again and again and again. Now, if we cross the border, we cross the entertainment border and go into another genre of games, we see Games Workshop. Games Workshop has its fans. They make Warhammer 40,000.
Right.
Warhammer 40,000 has, well, it's a world that is dreary, very dark. A lot of badass wars taking place, warriors fighting, superhuman warriors and such. Right. And the sexist, well, I shouldn't say the sexist, but the LGBTQ woke agenda came in.
Yeah.
And they want to turn these badass, kick-ass super soldiers, they want to turn
into giant lesbians.
Right, into giant lesbians. They want to turn the Primaris, who are even badder.
Yeah.
Right? The ultimate warriors, they want to turn them into, make some of them female. And it's like, what? Even in the law, the very creation of these beings,
right,
were predicated on their genetics, on their male genetics, male endocrinology. Right. And even if we look seriously at the history of war as we know it, there have never been prominent females
in battle.
Never ever been prominent females among the creme de la creme of the male warriors. There were never any women of matching stature, right, in warriorhood.
No, well,
so to speak.
You see, this all goes back to.
I'm not saying there weren't any great female warriors, but none of them could have ever stood against the best of the males.
But this is,
the cream of the crop of the males. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. This goes back to the type of stories that these people are telling. They want to tell stories where a 110-pound girl can beat up a 250-pound guy who has been training his entire life. Like that's the type of story they want. It's a delusion. It's not. It doesn't make sense and it's forced. But I'll say this: I think the Warhammer is a great topic that we could definitely cover in another video. But sadly, we are over time. So I just want to shout out Critical Drinker, Endymion, and Eric July, who I was put on to by my good friend Martial Arts. I don't know why I don't have his
kudos
channel
to those
up
guys.
here.
Kudos.
Each of them
Yeah.
give great critiques, and they're trying to push media and entertainment in the right way by giving the audiences a voice. I'm trying to do the same thing, very unfiltered, as you all can hear on this channel. I do not give a shit about these people, right? And I'll say one more thing: if you guys if you like straightforward stories, action
We need to do longer
oriented,
videos.
and if you like
We need to do
action,
longer.
yeah, hold on. If you like action oriented stories, adult comics that touch on character development, go ahead, stay tuned. I am going to be releasing my comic. It is called Ascension. It is not for the faint of heart. So if you're soft, it's just not for you. I'm telling you. I'm always going to say that. But if you do want to become a character in that story, I will draw you. All you gotta do is subscribe and DM me either on Instagram or Twitter, right? I hope you all enjoyed the video. It was great having you on, but everybody else have a good rest of your day, okay? Later.
Oh yeah. Later.